What have I learnt about technologies from the process of constructing this product? Throughout the duration of creating my dance music magazine, I have learnt considerably more about the software I use than anything else. When I created my prelim task for College Magazine front cover and contents page back in September, I knew that my skills were not up to scratch, as I had past experience of Adobe Photoshop at GCSE, but nothing to write home about, and for Adobe InDesign I had never used it before. I noted this down on a skills triangle on both my experiences using the software as the lowest level possible, but after months of using both the Adobe programs, I feel that my skills have progressed dramatically, to the point whereby I feel confident that I can use both programs to a professional level. Although this may be the case, I still feel I lack in certain areas on both pieces of Adobe software. For example, in Photoshop, I still can't seem to grasp an understanding of the various lasso tools, like the magnetic one that was used mainly to crop my front cover image of a DJ, and that took not only concentration but patience to use. Furthermore, elements such as changing the colour, fade and shade of an image seem to have evaded me, and many of the tools in Photoshop have so far not been used by myself. With Photoshop being tricky to use at first, it was eventually simple to create my magazine in that format if I just stuck to the elements of the software that I knew, and the obstacles I couldn't avoid, such as the layers, just had to be dealt with, no matter how frustrated I appeared to get about them. Adobe InDesign, though, was a different problem altogether. With no past experience in it, I accepted I would face various challenges, but I did not expect the software to be so drastically different to that of Adobe Photoshop. Firstly, once grasping layers in Photoshop, I thought I would be able to incorporate that technique in InDesign, but to my disbelief, InDesign's layers were virtually non-existent, resulting in me having to learn how to apply colours, images and bodies of text to my dual page spreads and contents page without knowing how to do it entirely. This resulted in the background colour on my second dual page spread just being a series of filled in text boxes instead of one consistent colour. When creating my magazine though, I had to obviously take photographs, and that was done with a Canon EOS 400D SLR camera, which was a joy to use. Learning how to use it though was complicated, but once I had it in my hands, it was easy to determine what to do. This bit of kit included many settings when taking the photograph, and this was a determining factor on why my magazine's photos were both so clear and utterly motionless. Along with the technologies I have already mentioned, the software I'm using now, Windows Live Movie Maker, was one of the first I came across in AS Media. Virtually impossible to use at first due to over-exaggeration of how complicated it would be, I now have full confidence in my abilities on this piece of software, to the point where I made a few music videos for an out-of-college project on it. Pre-production wise, a shoot-off from my magazine project was my blog, that was created in September as a posters blog, but around February-March time, it was announced that it would be closing down, so my blog had to be transferred to WordPress, which was a time-consuming task, and unfortunately for myself, the videos imported in my posters blog would not show up on my new blog so effectively. Furthermore, I personally prefer posters to WordPress, due to the way it sets out and the ease of use of it. Another pre-production element of my project that would severely affect the overall look of my magazine if conducted inappropriately was research, which was conducted primarily through Google and led on to websites such as Mixmag, from which I went on to buy a copy, Bauer Media Advertising, Future PLC and IPC Media Advertising websites to access accessories such as media packs and whatnot.